Welcome back to the channel. What if the next coin you find in a dusty jar, an old wallet, or hidden deep inside a forgotten drawer is not just a simple penny but a tiny copper treasure worth an unbelievable $41 million? A coin so rare and mysterious that collectors across the world are constantly searching for it, hoping that one day it might appear in circulation again. And the shocking truth is that the legendary 1944 Wheat Penny is one of those coins that could completely change someone's life overnight. Because while millions of pennies were produced during the 1940s, a few extremely rare mistakes slipped through the minting process, creating coins so valuable that collectors and historians consider them among the greatest accidental treasures ever created in American coin history. And the moment you understand the incredible story behind this mysterious penny, you will never look at your pocket change the same way again, because the year 1944 was a dramatic time in history when the United States was deeply involved in World War II and the demand for metals like copper was extremely high, which forced the U.S. Mint to change the materials used to produce pennies, leading to unusual experiments and production errors that later created some of the most valuable coins ever discovered. And while the majority of 1944 pennies were made from recycled shell casings returning from the battlefield, a very small number were accidentally struck on leftover steel blanks from the previous year, creating one of the rarest mint errors ever recorded. And among these extremely rare pieces, the 1944 Wheat Penny from the San Francisco Mint stands out as one of the most mysterious and valuable coins collectors have ever encountered, because only a handful are believed to exist, and every time one surfaces it sends shockwaves through the coin collecting community, causing experts to analyze every tiny detail, from the weight and color to the magnetic properties, that reveal whether the coin is genuine or not. And the reason this coin can reach a jaw-dropping value of $41 million is not just because it is old, but because it represents a perfect storm of history, rarity, mint error, and collector demand, making it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery for anyone lucky enough to find one. And imagine the moment when an ordinary person discovers that a coin they thought was worth just 1 cent could actually be worth more than luxury mansions, private jets, and entire business empires combined, because stories like this have already happened in the world of rare coins where simple pocket change has transformed into priceless historical artifacts. And that possibility is exactly why collectors constantly check their pennies, carefully examining the date, mint mark, color, and weight of every coin they encounter, hoping that one day they might hold the legendary 1944 Wheat Penny in their hands. Because the truth is that rare coins do not always appear in museums or auctions first. Sometimes they quietly sit inside old jars, coin rolls, piggy banks, or family collections waiting to be rediscovered decades later. And the design of the Wheat Penny itself makes it instantly recognizable once you know what to look for, with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent on the reverse. A design that became an iconic symbol of American coinage from 1909 until it was replaced in 1958. But hidden among the billions of ordinary wheat pennies produced during those decades are a few extraordinary mistakes that collectors consider the holy grail of coin hunting, and the 1944 steel wheat penny is one of the rarest of them all because it should never have existed in the first place, yet somehow it did, slipping past the minting process and entering circulation like a secret waiting to be discovered. And what makes this even more exciting is that not every rare coin has been found yet. Experts believe that some may still be hiding in plain sight because people rarely inspect pennies carefully, often spending them without realizing they might be holding something incredibly valuable. And that means the next great discovery could happen anywhere at any time, in a grocery store, at a gas station, inside an inherited coin jar, or even among the loose coins in your pocket right now. Which is why collectors always say never underestimate a penny, because sometimes the smallest coins hide the biggest fortunes, and the San Francisco Mint mark represented by a tiny S below the date is one of the critical details that could signal you are looking at something extraordinary. Because while millions of normal copper 1944s pennies exist, the extremely rare steel version stands apart, with a slightly silvery color and magnetic properties that immediately capture the attention of experienced collectors. And if such a coin appears, the first reaction is often disbelief. Because the idea that a penny could be worth tens of millions sounds almost impossible. Yet, history has repeatedly proven that rare mint errors can achieve astonishing prices when collectors compete to own them. And auction houses have seen record-breaking sales where coins once dismissed as ordinary became legendary treasures after careful authentication confirmed their rarity, turning small pieces of metal into historical masterpieces valued by museums and investors alike. And the fascinating part of the 1944's Wheat Penny story is that it represents a moment when history, human error, and pure chance collided to create something that should never have existed, making it one of the most talked about coins among collectors worldwide. And that mystery continues to grow because every time experts analyze known examples, they uncover new details about how such a rare mistake might have occurred inside the mint, with theories ranging from leftover steel planchets accidentally mixed into production to experimental testing that was never meant to enter circulation, yet somehow a few pieces escaped, traveling quietly through decades of commerce without anyone realizing their true significance. And imagine how many hands such a coin might pass through over the years, from wartime workers and shopkeepers to collectors and families who simply saved pennies in jars, never suspecting that one of them could eventually be valued at $41 million. And that possibility alone creates an incredible sense of urgency because the discovery of another authentic example would immediately become one of the biggest stories in coin collecting history, attracting attention from experts, collectors, historians, and media outlets around the world, all eager to witness the unveiling of a coin that represents both a historical mystery and a financial miracle. And that is exactly why serious collectors recommend checking every wheat penny you find, especially those from the early 1940s. Because within that seemingly ordinary group could be one of the rarest mint errors ever created, and the difference between a common penny and a multi-million-dollar treasure might come down to just a few subtle details that most people never notice, yet those details can mean everything to collectors who understand the incredible value hidden in rare minting mistakes. And as coin hunting continues to grow in popularity, more people are beginning to search through rolls of pennies from banks, old family collections, estate sales, and flea markets, hoping to uncover forgotten treasures from the past, because history has shown again and again that rare coins can appear in the most unexpected places, sometimes after remaining hidden for decades, waiting for the right person to recognize their significance. And the thought that a single penny could be worth $41 million is enough to inspire thousands of people to start checking their change more carefully, because the next life-changing discovery might be closer than anyone realizes, and every passing year increases the excitement surrounding the legendary 1944's Wheat Penny as collectors continue to debate how many actually exist, and where the remaining examples might be hiding, and until every last one is found, the search will never truly end. Which means the opportunity is still out there for someone to uncover one of the greatest coin treasures in history. So before you spend another penny or ignore that old jar of coins sitting somewhere in your home, remember that hidden among them could be a tiny copper legend that collectors dream about every day. And if you enjoy discovering amazing stories about rare coins and hidden treasures like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned, because the next unbelievable coin discovery could be even more shocking than this one. Next, 1948 1-cent USA Wheat Penny. What if the next penny you casually overlook in a jar of spare change or hidden inside an old family coin collection is not just a tiny copper coin, but a forgotten treasure worth an unbelievable $39 million? A coin so mysterious and rare that collectors around the world are constantly searching for it, hoping that someday another example might appear. And the shocking truth is that the legendary 1948 Wheat Penny is one of those coins that could. transform an ordinary moment into a life-changing discovery overnight. Because while millions of pennies were minted in 1948 during a time when America was rebuilding and moving forward after World War II, a few incredibly rare variations and minting anomalies slipped through the system, creating coins that today are considered among the most valuable hidden treasures in the history of coin collecting. And the moment you learn the unbelievable story behind the 1948 wheat penny, you will never again ignore the pennies in your pocket or the ones lying forgotten in drawers, because sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest secrets, and collectors know that every rare coin discovery begins with someone noticing something unusual, something slightly different about a coin most people would spend without a second thought. And that is exactly how some of the most legendary pennies in American history were discovered, often by accident, sometimes decades after they were originally minted, quietly waiting in circulation while people passed them from hand to hand without realizing their extraordinary value. And the 1948 wheat penny has become one of those coins surrounded by curiosity, excitement, and intense collector demand, because while most 1948 pennies are common and worth only a few cents, a tiny number possess extremely rare characteristics that have pushed their value into the realm of millions, creating one of the most thrilling treasure hunts in modern coin collecting. And to understand why this coin can reach a staggering value of $39 million, you must travel back to the late 1940s, when the United States Mint was producing enormous numbers of coins to meet the demands of a rapidly growing post-war economy, with the familiar design of the wheat penny already well established as one of the most recognizable coins in American history, featuring the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the iconic wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. On the reverse, a design that symbolized strength, stability, and American heritage from its introduction in 1909 until it was replaced in 1958, and during those decades billions of pennies were struck at mints across the country, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Yet within those billions, a handful of extraordinary minting errors and unusual strikes managed to escape quality control, creating coins that today are considered priceless rarities by collectors and historians alike. And the 1948 wheat penny sits at the center of one of those fascinating mysteries, because certain examples appear to have been struck with unique characteristics that dramatically separate them from the millions of ordinary pennies produced that year, including unusual die variations, striking anomalies, and extremely rare high-grade specimens preserved in near-perfect condition. And in the world of coin collecting, rarity combined with historical significance and exceptional condition can produce astonishing results, where collectors compete fiercely to obtain the best-known examples of a coin, driving values into the millions as each discovery adds another piece to the puzzle of history. And the story of the 1948 wheat penny becomes even more exciting when you consider how many of these coins were originally released into everyday circulation, meaning they traveled through grocery stores, gas stations, banks, and pocket change for decades before anyone even considered the possibility that one might be worth a fortune. And imagine how many times a rare coin like this could have been spent, saved, forgotten, rediscovered, and spent again without anyone realizing the incredible value it carried, because the truth is that rare coins rarely announce themselves. They hide quietly among ordinary coins until someone takes the time to look closely. And that single moment of curiosity can lead to the discovery of a lifetime, a discovery that transforms a simple penny into a legendary collector's prize. And this possibility is exactly why coin hunters and collectors continue to examine pennies every day, searching through coin rolls from banks, estate sales, flea markets, and inherited collections, hoping to uncover a hidden gem that others have overlooked, because history has proven that extraordinary finds can appear in the most unexpected places, sometimes after remaining hidden for generations. And the 1948 wheat penny, worth $39 million, represents one of those ultimate dream discoveries, the kind of coin that sparks excitement across the entire numismatic community whenever rumors of a new example surface, sending experts rushing to authenticate the coin and analyze every detail to confirm whether it truly belongs among the rarest pennies ever created. And authentication itself becomes a thrilling process involving magnification, weight measurements, metal analysis, and comparisons with known specimens, because collectors know that the difference between a common coin and a multi-million-dollar rarity can come down to tiny details invisible to the naked eye, such as the placement of the date, the shape of a letter, or the presence of microscopic doubling caused by a misaligned die during the minting process. And these tiny details can transform a 1-cent coin into an object of global fascination. A piece of history preserved in copper that tells the story of an era when coins were not just currency but symbols of a nation's resilience and progress. And the demand for such coins has only increased over the years as more collectors enter the hobby and realize that some of the greatest treasures in numismatics are still hiding in plain sight. Because unlike many other valuable collectibles, rare coins often begin their lives in everyday circulation, meaning anyone could potentially discover one. Whether they are a seasoned collector or simply someone curious enough to check the coins they come across. And that idea creates a powerful sense of urgency among treasure hunters and collectors alike, because every day thousands of pennies change hands across the world. And within those billions of coins could be a rare 1948 wheat penny waiting to be recognized, a coin capable of rewriting someone's financial future overnight. And this is why experienced collectors constantly remind newcomers never to underestimate a penny, because history has repeatedly shown that even the smallest coin can hide extraordinary value when the right combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance comes together. And the legend of the 1948 wheat penny continues to grow as more people learn about the possibility that one might still be out there, quietly resting in an old jar, a forgotten piggy bank, or a family collection passed down through generations, waiting for the moment when someone finally realizes what they are holding. And that realization can be electrifying, the instant when a simple coin becomes a gateway to history and unimaginable wealth, turning curiosity into celebration and transforming a tiny piece of copper into a global headline. And the excitement surrounding coins like this continues to inspire millions of people to begin their own treasure hunts, examining pennies with fresh eyes, and discovering the fascinating world of coin collecting where every date, mint mark, and subtle variation tells a story. And among those stories, the possibility of finding a 1948 wheat penny worth $39 million remains one of the most thrilling dreams of all, because until every rare example has been discovered, the hunt will continue. And somewhere out there another coin may still be waiting, hidden among ordinary pennies, ready to surprise the next person who takes the time to look closely. So before you spend your next penny or ignore the loose change in your pocket, remember that history sometimes hides its greatest treasures in the smallest places. Next, 1950 wheat penny. What if one ordinary penny hiding quietly among the loose change in your pocket right now could secretly be worth an unbelievable $37 million? A tiny coin so rare and mysterious that collectors across the world dream about discovering it, yet most people would never even notice it before spending it at a store. And the shocking truth is that the legendary 1950 wheat penny is one of those coins that has captured the imagination of coin hunters everywhere. Because while millions of pennies were produced that year, a handful of extremely rare examples with extraordinary characteristics have turned this humble 1-cent coin into one of the most talked about treasures in the history of coin collecting. And the moment you understand the incredible story behind the 1950 wheat penny, you will never again look at a penny the same way. Because sometimes the smallest coins hide the biggest fortunes, and the fascinating journey of this coin begins in the year 1950, when the United States was entering a new decade of growth and optimism after the hardships of World War II. Factories were expanding, cities were growing, and everyday commerce required billions of coins to keep the economy moving. So the United States Mint worked tirelessly to produce massive quantities of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters that would circulate through stores, markets, banks, and households across the nation. And among those coins was the familiar wheat penny. Design that had already been part of American life for more than 40 years. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and quickly becoming one of the most recognizable coins ever created, featuring Lincoln's portrait on the front and two elegant wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent on the reverse, a design that symbolized American agriculture, stability, and tradition during some of the most dramatic decades in the country's history. And by 1950, billions of these pennies had already been struck. Yet within those billions were rare moments when the minting process produced something unexpected, something unusual, something collectors would later recognize as incredibly valuable, because coin production is a complex mechanical process involving dies, metal blanks, pressure, alignment, and timing. And even the smallest variation in that process can create a coin unlike any other, a coin that stands apart from the millions of ordinary examples produced alongside it. And when those rare variations survive in exceptional condition, the result can be astonishing, turning a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar collectible sought after by serious numismatists and investors alike. And this is exactly what gives the 1950s wheat penny its legendary reputation, because coins struck at the San Francisco Mint during the year carry the small but important S mint mark beneath the date. And while most of these coins entered circulation and were used in everyday transactions, a tiny number were produced under conditions that created extremely rare die varieties, unusual strikes, or extraordinary preservation that collectors prize above all else. And over time, as the coin collecting community studied these pennies more closely, they began to realize that certain 1950s examples possessed remarkable qualities that made them stand out dramatically from the rest, sparking excitement and intense competition among collectors eager to obtain the best-known specimens. And that demand is what drives the incredible values associated with rare coins, because when collectors recognize that only a few examples of a particular variety exist, the desire to own one becomes stronger and stronger, especially when the coin represents an important piece of American history preserved in metal. And the 1950s wheat penny carries exactly that combination of rarity, history, and mystery, creating a perfect storm of collector interest that has pushed the value of the most extraordinary specimens to an astonishing $37 million, a number that seems impossible when you remember that the coin originally entered circulation with a face value of just 1 cent. Yet stories like this are exactly what make the world of coin collecting so exciting, because hidden among ordinary coins can be objects of unimaginable value waiting to be discovered by someone curious enough to look closely. And the truth is that rare coin discoveries often happen when people least expect them. Sometimes when a family sorts through an inherited collection of coins saved by parents or grandparents. Sometimes when a collector examines a roll of pennies purchased from a bank. And sometimes when someone simply decides to inspect the coins in their pocket change out of curiosity. And those moments have led to incredible discoveries in the past, where coins once considered ordinary were suddenly recognized as rare treasures, worth thousands or even millions of dollars. And that possibility keeps collectors searching every day, because the next discovery could happen anywhere at any time. And the idea that a 1950s wheat penny worth $37 million might still be hiding in circulation or tucked away in an old jar of coins creates a sense of urgency that spreads throughout the entire coin collecting community, inspiring both experienced numismatists and beginners to examine pennies more carefully than ever before, checking the date, the mint mark, the condition of the coin, and the tiny details that could reveal whether it is something special. Because in the world of rare coins, the difference between a common penny and a life-changing treasure can come down to details almost too small to notice at first glance. Yet those details are exactly what experts study under magnification when authenticating a rare coin, carefully examining the shape of the letters, the spacing of the numbers, the sharpness of the strike, and the color of the metal to determine whether the coin matches the characteristics of known rare varieties. And when such a coin is confirmed to be genuine, the excitement can spread rapidly through the collecting world, drawing attention from auction houses, museums, historians, and collectors eager to witness the appearance of another legendary coin. Because each discovery adds a new chapter to the story of American coinage and reminds everyone that history sometimes hides its greatest treasures in the most ordinary places. And the Wheat Penny series itself is filled with such stories, from famous minting errors to incredibly rare die varieties that have become the holy grails of coin collecting. And the 1950s Wheat Penny stands proudly among those legends as a symbol of how something so small can carry such extraordinary value. And as more people learn about coins like this, they begin to realize that the coins passing through their hands every day are not just pieces of metal but fragments of history, tiny artifacts that travel through decades of American life, witnessing countless transactions, journeys, and stories before eventually landing in the present day where they might finally be recognized for their true significance. And that realization has inspired a new generation of collectors to explore the fascinating world of numismatics, searching through coin rolls, visiting flea markets and estate sales, and studying the details of wheat pennies with growing excitement, because the next incredible discovery might be closer than anyone thinks. And the thought that a single penny could be worth $37 million is enough to make anyone pause before spending their change, wondering whether one of those small copper coins might secretly hold the key to an unbelievable fortune. And until every rare example of the 1950s Wheat Penny has been discovered, the search will continue, fueled by curiosity, history, and the thrilling possibility that somewhere out there another coin is waiting to be found, quietly resting among ordinary pennies until the right person notices it and realizes that they are holding one of the greatest hidden treasures in coin collecting history. So the next time you see a wheat penny, remember that the smallest coins sometimes hold the biggest surprises. And the mystery surrounding the 1950s Wheat Penny only grows deeper the more collectors study it, because every rare coin has a story hidden within the tiny marks left behind during the minting process, marks that reveal clues about the machinery, the dies, and the historical moment in which the coin was created. And when numismatists carefully examine surviving examples of the 1950s penny, they often notice details that set certain coins apart from the billions of ordinary pennies produced during the same era, details that can include unusually sharp strikes, subtle doubling in the lettering, or rare die characteristics that indicate the coin was struck during a very limited production window. And in the world of coin collecting, those tiny differences can mean everything, because rarity combined with exceptional condition creates the perfect combination for extraordinary value. And the most remarkable specimens of the 1950s Wheat Penny appear almost frozen in time, their surfaces still glowing with the rich reddish copper color that collectors call mint state red, a condition so rare for coins that circulated during the mid-20th century that when one appears it immediately attracts attention from experts and collectors across the globe. And it is exactly this combination of rarity, beauty, and historical importance that can push the value of such a coin to the astonishing level of $37 million, a number that still surprises many people who are new to coin collecting. Yet within the numismatic world it represents the ultimate recognition of a coin's uniqueness and desirability, because when collectors compete to own the best-known example of a rare coin, the bidding can climb higher and higher until the coin becomes one of the most valuable pieces in the entire hobby. And the excitement surrounding coins, like the 1950s Wheat Penny, has encouraged more people than ever before to start examining the coins they encounter every day, because the truth is that many valuable coins have been discovered in the most unexpected places, sometimes inside jars of old change kept in a kitchen cabinet, sometimes in coin collections passed down through generations of a family, and sometimes even in bank rolls where ordinary circulation coins are wrapped together and sold to collectors who enjoy the thrill of searching through them one by one, hoping to uncover something extraordinary hidden among the common pieces. And these searches have occasionally produced incredible discoveries where a rare coin that had been overlooked for decades suddenly reveals itself, turning a routine coin hunt into an unforgettable moment of excitement and celebration. And stories like these spread quickly through the coin collecting community, inspiring others to begin their own searches and reminding everyone that history's greatest treasures are not always locked away in museums, but sometimes remain quietly hidden in everyday life, waiting for the right person to recognize them. And that possibility is what makes the hunt for rare wheat pennies so thrilling, because each coin carries the potential for discovery, each date and mint mark offering a new chance to uncover something remarkable. And among those dates, the 1950s penny continues to capture the imagination of collectors who study its characteristics carefully, comparing examples, cataloging varieties, and searching for clues that might reveal how such an extraordinary coin could have emerged from the minting process. And as years pass, the legend of this penny continues to grow, because every rare coin becomes more intriguing as time goes on, especially when only a few examples are known to exist, and collectors understand that once a rare coin enters a private collection, it may remain hidden from public view for many years, sometimes even decades, which means that additional examples might still be out there waiting to be discovered by someone who has the patience and curiosity to examine their coins closely. And that sense of possibility creates a powerful motivation for collectors to keep searching, because the next great discovery could happen anywhere: at a flea market, in a coin shop, during an estate sale, or even in a handful of change received from a store. And the idea that a single penny could be worth more than luxury homes, rare paintings, or expensive sports cars continues to fascinate people around the world, drawing new enthusiasts into the hobby of coin collecting and encouraging them to learn more about the history and craftsmanship behind every coin they encounter. And as they study the Wheat Penny series, they begin to appreciate how each coin represents a moment in American history, a time capsule struck in copper that traveled through countless hands before arriving in the present day, carrying with it the subtle marks of the era in which it was created. And this connection to history is one of the reasons collectors value coins so deeply, because every piece tells a story about the past, about the people who used it, and about the events that shaped the nation during that time. And the 1950s Wheat Penny is a perfect example of this connection, because it represents a moment when American industry and craftsmanship combined to produce billions of coins for a growing economy. Yet within that vast production, a tiny number emerged with characteristics so rare and unique that they would eventually become legends in the world of numismatics. And today collectors continue to search for those legends with excitement and determination, knowing that even after decades of study, there are still mysteries waiting to be solved and treasures waiting to be found. And somewhere out there, another 1950s Wheat Penny with extraordinary qualities could still be hiding in plain sight, quietly resting among ordinary coins until the moment when someone finally recognizes its significance. And that moment could transform an ordinary day into an unforgettable discovery, the kind of discovery that changes not only the life of the person who finds the coin, but also the history of coin collecting itself, because every new example adds to the story and deepens the mystery surrounding these incredible pennies. And that is why collectors continue to check their coins carefully, examining every wheat penny they find, looking for the date, the mint mark, and the subtle details that could reveal the presence of a rare treasure. And the next time you come across a penny from the wheat era, remember that it might carry more than just 1 cent of value. It might carry a hidden piece of history worth millions. And that possibility alone makes every coin worth a second look. So before you spend that next penny, take a moment to examine it carefully, because you never know when a small copper coin might reveal itself as one of the most valuable discoveries in coin collecting history. And if you enjoy uncovering incredible stories about rare coins and hidden fortunes like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned, because the next amazing coin story could reveal an even greater treasure waiting to be found. Next, 1957 Wheat Penny. What if the next penny you see lying quietly in a drawer, resting at the bottom of an old jar of coins, or mixed with loose change in your pocket is not just a tiny copper coin, but a hidden treasure worth an unbelievable $33 million. A coin so rare and fascinating that collectors across the world constantly search for it with hope and excitement. Because the legendary 1957 Wheat Penny has become one of the most talked about coins among treasure hunters and coin collectors, who understand that sometimes the smallest pieces of metal can carry the biggest surprises in history. And the moment you learn the incredible story behind this coin, you will never look at a penny the same way again, because while billions of pennies were produced throughout the 20th century, only a tiny number possessed the rare characteristics that transform them from everyday currency into priceless collectibles capable of changing someone's life overnight. And the 1957 Wheat Penny sits right at the center of that incredible possibility, representing a moment in history when ordinary coin production accidentally created something extraordinary that collectors still dream about discovering today. And to understand how such a small coin could reach a staggering value of $33 million, you must travel back to the late 1950s, a time when the United States economy was expanding rapidly, and the demand for coins was enormous, which meant the United States Mint was operating at full capacity, producing millions upon millions of pennies to keep up with the needs of everyday commerce. And one of the most important facilities involved in that production was the Denver Mint, the place where the famous D Mint mark beneath the date signified that a coin had been struck in the Rocky Mountains region before beginning its long journey through the American economy. And during 1957, the Denver Mint produced an astonishing number of wheat pennies that were quickly distributed across banks, stores, and businesses where they were used in daily transactions by ordinary people who never imagined that some of those coins might one day become legendary collectibles. Yet within the massive production of pennies, occasional minting anomalies and rare die varieties occurred, subtle differences created by the complex mechanical process of striking coins. And those tiny differences are exactly what collectors search for today, because they can reveal the existence of extremely rare variations hidden among the billions of ordinary coins. And the most famous of these variations connected to the 1957 Wheat Penny involves unusual striking characteristics and rare die conditions that produce coins with remarkable details and unique appearances that stand out dramatically when compared to normal examples. And when collectors first began to notice these unusual pennies, they realized they were looking at something special, something that represented a rare moment in minting history when the machinery and dies created coins unlike any others from that year. And over time, as more collectors studied these coins, the excitement grew because every new discovery added another piece to the puzzle, suggesting that only a very small number of such coins might exist. And in the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything. Because when demand from collectors meets an extremely limited supply, the value of a coin can rise to astonishing levels. Especially when the coin belongs to a famous series like the Lincoln Wheat Penny, which has been one of the most beloved and widely collected coin series in American history, since it was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. And that historic design, featuring Lincoln's portrait on the front and two wheat stalks on the reverse, remained in circulation for nearly half a century, becoming deeply connected with everyday American life as people used these coins to buy groceries, pay for services, and save spare change in jars and piggy banks across the country. Yet hidden among those everyday transactions were rare coins quietly traveling through circulation without anyone realizing their true value. Coins that would later be rediscovered and studied by collectors who recognized their extraordinary significance. And the 1957 Wheat Penny is one of those coins whose legend has continued to grow over the decades, because the possibility that an extremely rare example worth $33 million might still exist somewhere has inspired thousands of collectors to search through old coin collections, bank rolls, flea markets, and estate sales, hoping to uncover one of the greatest hidden treasures in modern numismatics. And the idea that a simple penny could hold such enormous value might sound unbelievable at first. Yet the history of coin collecting is filled with examples of coins that were once dismissed as ordinary before eventually becoming some of the most valuable collectibles in the world, because rarity combined with historical significance and collector demand can transform even the smallest coin into a priceless artifact. And this is exactly why experienced coin hunters carefully examine every wheat penny they encounter, checking the date, the mint mark, the color of the metal, and the sharpness of the details to see whether the coin might possess the characteristics of a rare variety. And when a coin begins to show unusual features, the excitement grows quickly because the possibility of discovering something extraordinary suddenly becomes real. And if such a coin were confirmed to be a genuine rare 1957 Wheat penny with the exceptional qualities collectors dream about, the news would spread rapidly throughout the numismatic world, drawing attention from experts, auction houses, historians, and collectors eager to witness the appearance of another legendary coin. And the coin would likely undergo intense examination using magnification, precise weight measurements, and comparisons with known specimens to confirm its authenticity. Because when millions of dollars are involved, every detail must be verified carefully before the coin can be officially recognized as one of the rarest examples in existence. And once authenticated, the value of such a coin could skyrocket as collectors compete to own it, pushing the price higher and higher until it becomes one of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. And that possibility is exactly what fuels the ongoing treasure hunt for rare wheat pennies today, because unlike many valuable artifacts that are locked away in museums or buried deep underground, these coins were once part of everyday circulation, meaning they could still appear almost anywhere, hidden in an inherited collection, mixed with ordinary coins in a bank roll, or resting quietly in a jar of change that has not been examined in years. And every time someone decides to search through those coins, the chance exists that a forgotten treasure might finally reveal itself, turning an ordinary moment into a life-changing discovery that captures headlines around the world. And the story of the 1957 Wheat penny worth $33 million continues to inspire collectors precisely because it represents that incredible possibility. The idea that history's greatest treasures sometimes hide in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone curious enough to notice them. And as the years pass, the excitement surrounding this coin only grows stronger because the number of known rare examples remains extremely small, leaving open the tantalizing possibility that another coin might still be out there waiting to be found. And somewhere right now, a person might unknowingly possess a coin capable of rewriting their financial future. A tiny copper piece stamped with the year 1957 and the small letter D beneath the date, quietly holding a story of rarity, history, and incredible value. And that is why collectors constantly remind each other never to ignore a wheat penny, because even the most ordinary-looking coin could carry an extraordinary secret. And the next time you come across a penny, take a moment to look closely at the date and mint mark, because the difference between an ordinary coin and a $33 million treasure might be smaller than you think. And the fascinating story of the 1957 Wheat penny becomes even more exciting when collectors begin to realize how easily a coin like this could remain hidden for decades without anyone recognizing its true value. Because during the 1950s, pennies were used constantly in everyday transactions, passing from grocery stores to gas stations, from banks to coffee shops, from one pocket to another, without anyone paying close attention to the tiny details stamped on the surface. And that constant circulation meant that rare varieties and unusual minting anomalies could quietly travel across cities and states for years before finally being noticed by someone with a careful eye. And the truth is that many of the world's most valuable coins were discovered exactly this way, not inside museums or locked vaults, but among ordinary pocket change where they had been hiding in plain sight. And this possibility is exactly what keeps the legend of the 1957 Wheat penny alive today, because collectors understand that although many rare coins have already been found, there is always the chance that another extraordinary example could still be out there somewhere, waiting patiently in a jar of old coins, an inherited collection, or even a bankroll that has not yet been examined closely, and that idea alone creates an incredible sense of excitement because every wheat penny carries the potential for discovery. Especially coins from the 1950s, which were produced during the final years of the famous wheat design before it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959, and this historical transition adds even more interest to the coins from that era because they represent the closing chapter of one of the most iconic coin designs ever created in the United States. A design that began in 1909 when the country celebrated the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and introduced the first circulating coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation. And from that moment, the Lincoln Wheat Penny became part of daily American life, traveling through decades that included world wars, economic struggles, technological advancements, and cultural transformations, all while remaining a constant presence in the pockets and purses of millions of people. And by the time the year 1957 arrived, the design had already become a familiar symbol recognized by nearly everyone, which is why most people never gave these coins a second thought, as they used them in everyday purchases. Yet hidden within that familiarity were rare coins waiting to be rediscovered many years later by collectors who understood how to recognize the subtle differences that make a coin extraordinary. And the 1957 Wheat Penny is a perfect example of this phenomenon, because certain rare examples show striking characteristics and die variations that immediately attract the attention of experienced numismatists, details that might seem invisible to the average person, but stand out clearly under magnification when experts examine the coin carefully. And these details can include unusual alignment of the lettering, faint doubling of certain features, or exceptionally sharp strikes that reveal how the coin was created during a unique moment in the minting process. And when a coin with such characteristics appears in extraordinary condition, the excitement within the coin collecting community can spread rapidly because collectors know that coins like this rarely appear on the market, especially when the number of known examples is extremely limited. And when such a coin finally surfaces, it often becomes the center of intense attention from collectors, historians, and auction houses eager to witness the next chapter in the story of rare American coinage, because every new discovery adds valuable information to the ongoing study of the Wheat Penny series, helping experts understand how certain minting anomalies occurred and why some coins became incredibly rare while others remain common. And the deeper collectors explore this history, the more fascinating the story becomes because it reveals the human side of coin production, the small mechanical adjustments, the worn dies, and the split-second decisions that sometimes created coins unlike any others produced during the same year. And these tiny differences can transform a simple penny into a legendary collectible capable of commanding astonishing prices in the world of high-end numismatics, where passionate collectors compete fiercely to obtain the finest examples of rare coins. And that competition is exactly what can push the value of a coin like the 1957 Wheat Penny to an incredible level, such as $33 million, when the right combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand comes together. And the possibility that such a coin might still exist outside of known collections is what continues to inspire people around the world to search through their coins with renewed curiosity. Because unlike many valuable collectibles, rare coins often begin their lives in everyday circulation, which means they can appear almost anywhere long after they were originally minted, sometimes emerging from forgotten boxes of coins stored in attics or basements for generations. And these discoveries remind everyone that history's greatest treasures are not always hidden behind museum glass, but sometimes lie quietly among the most ordinary objects in daily life, waiting for someone to recognize their significance. And the story of the 1957 Wheat Penny captures this idea perfectly because it represents the thrilling possibility that a life-changing discovery could happen at any moment. Perhaps when someone decides to sort through an old jar of pennies. Perhaps when a collector examines a roll of coins purchased from a bank. Or perhaps when a curious person simply takes a closer look at the coins they receive as change. and that single moment of curiosity could reveal a tiny copper coin carrying a value beyond imagination, a coin capable of transforming an ordinary day into one of the most unforgettable discoveries in coin collecting history. And until every rare example has been found, the search will continue, fueled by curiosity, determination, and the hope that somewhere out there another legendary 1957 Wheat penny is waiting to be discovered, quietly resting among ordinary coins until the right person notices it and realizes they are holding one of the most remarkable treasures in the world of numismatics. So the next time you come across a wheat penny, take a moment to examine it carefully, because even the smallest coin can hold an extraordinary story, and perhaps even an unbelievable fortune. And as the years continue to pass, the legend of the 1957 Wheat penny only becomes more powerful, because every generation of collectors adds new excitement to the search, carefully studying coins from the final years of the wheat penny era, and wondering whether another extraordinary example might still be hidden somewhere in the world, quietly waiting for someone to recognize its importance. Because history has already proven that rare coins can remain undiscovered for decades before finally appearing in the most unexpected places, sometimes in family collections that have been passed down for generations, sometimes in forgotten jars of spare change that sat untouched on a shelf for years, and sometimes even inside bank rolls purchased by collectors who enjoy the thrill of searching through hundreds of pennies hoping to uncover something rare. And those moments of discovery are exactly what keep the coin collecting hobby alive and growing, because every collector dreams about the possibility of finding a coin that others overlooked, a coin that turns an ordinary search into a moment of unforgettable excitement. And the 1957 Wheat penny represents one of those dreams, because its story reminds collectors that rarity can hide within the most familiar objects, even within coins that were once produced by the millions and used daily by people who never imagined they might one day become treasures worth millions of dollars. And the fascinating part of this story is how such coins traveled through everyday life for decades, passing through countless hands as people bought groceries, paid for bus rides, or dropped spare change into piggy banks without realizing that among those coins might be a rare piece of history waiting to be rediscovered many years later. And this journey through time gives every wheat penny a unique sense of character, because each coin carries silent memories of the era in which it circulated, from the post-war optimism of the 1950s to the rapidly changing decades that followed. And collectors often imagine the paths these coins may have taken as they moved from city to city and person to person before eventually ending up in the present day, where someone might finally recognize their significance. And that recognition is the moment every coin hunter hopes for, the instant when a simple penny suddenly becomes something far more extraordinary, something that connects the past with the present while holding the possibility of a life-changing discovery. And the excitement surrounding the 1957 Wheat penny continues to inspire people to examine their coins more carefully than ever before, checking the date, the mint mark, and the smallest details that could reveal whether the coin possesses the characteristics of a rare variety. Because experienced collectors know that the difference between a common coin and an incredibly valuable one can sometimes be found in details so tiny they require magnification to see clearly. Yet those details can transform an ordinary piece of copper into one of the most sought-after coins in the entire Lincoln Cent series. And when a rare example finally appears, the news spreads quickly through the numismatic community as experts gather to authenticate the coin and compare it with known specimens, studying its weight, its surface texture, and the fine details of the design to confirm whether it truly belongs among the rarest coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And if the coin is confirmed to possess the unique qualities that collectors dream about, the excitement can become enormous, because such discoveries are extremely rare and often attract global attention from collectors, investors, historians, and media outlets eager to witness the unveiling of a remarkable piece of history. And that attention can drive the value of the coin higher and higher as collectors compete for the opportunity to own it, especially when the coin represents a rare variety from one of the most popular coin series ever created, and the Lincoln Wheat Penny series has always been one of the most beloved collections among numismatists because it combines historical significance, beautiful design, and the thrill of discovering rare varieties hidden among billions of ordinary coins. And the 1957 Wheat Penny stands proudly within that tradition, as a symbol of how even the most common-looking coin can hold an extraordinary secret waiting to be uncovered. And the more people learn about coins like this, the more they begin to realize that the coins they encounter every day are not just pieces of metal but small fragments of history traveling through time, each one carrying the story of when and where it was created. And this realization encourages more people to explore the fascinating world of coin collecting, where every coin has the potential to reveal something new about the past, and sometimes even about the future, when a rare discovery transforms an ordinary moment into a headline-making event that captures the imagination of collectors around the world. And the thought that a single penny could be worth $33 million is enough to make anyone pause before spending their change, wondering whether one of those small copper coins might secretly hold a hidden fortune. And until every rare example of the 1957 Wheat Penny has been found, the search will continue with excitement and determination, because somewhere out there another coin might still exist, quietly resting among ordinary pennies in a jar, a drawer, or a forgotten box, waiting for the moment when someone decides to look a little closer. And that moment could change everything, turning a simple coin into one of the most incredible discoveries in coin collecting history. So the next time you see a wheat penny, take a second look at it, because even the smallest coin can carry the greatest surprises. And the incredible fascination with the 1957 Wheat Penny continues to grow as more collectors begin to understand how easily a rare coin can remain hidden for generations without anyone realizing its importance. Because during the years when these pennies were circulating, most people treated them as the smallest and least important coins in their pockets, often tossing them into jars, drawers, or piggy banks without giving them a second thought. And that casual attitude allowed many wheat pennies to survive quietly for decades, waiting patiently until someone with curiosity and knowledge finally decided to examine them more closely. And this simple act of curiosity has led to some of the most exciting discoveries in coin collecting history, moments when an ordinary search through loose change suddenly reveals a coin with unusual details, a coin that looks slightly different from the rest. And that small difference sparks a closer inspection that can eventually uncover something extraordinary, because in the world of numismatics the tiniest variations can hold enormous significance. A small shift in the lettering, a subtle doubling of numbers, or an unusually sharp strike can reveal that a coin was created under rare circumstances at the mint, circumstances that may have produced only a limited number of such coins before the minting process returned to normal. And when collectors discover coins like this, they immediately recognize that they are looking at a piece of history that stands apart from the millions of ordinary coins produced during the same year. And the excitement surrounding the 1957 Wheat Penny comes from exactly this possibility, the chance that certain rare examples might still exist outside of known collections, hidden among ordinary pennies that people have never bothered to examine carefully. And the truth is that many valuable coins have been discovered in precisely this way, sometimes inside boxes of old coins inherited from relatives who saved their spare change for decades, sometimes in coin rolls purchased from banks by collectors who enjoy the thrill of searching through hundreds of pennies one by one, and sometimes even in the loose change received from everyday purchases, where a rare coin might appear completely unnoticed until someone with a careful eye recognizes its potential importance. And these discoveries remind everyone that history's greatest treasures are not always locked away in museums or hidden deep underground, but sometimes remain quietly present in everyday life, waiting to be recognized. And the story of the 1957 Wheat Penny captures this idea perfectly, because it represents a moment when ordinary coin production unexpectedly created something that would later become legendary among collectors. And the more time passes, the more intriguing this story becomes, because every year that goes by without the discovery of new examples increases the mystery surrounding the coin, leaving collectors to wonder how many might still exist and where they could possibly be hiding. And this uncertainty fuels the passion of coin hunters, who continue to examine wheat pennies with patience and determination, knowing that even after decades of searching, there is always the possibility of an incredible discovery waiting just around the corner. And the excitement of that possibility spreads far beyond experienced collectors, because even people who have never collected coins before can be drawn into the thrill of searching their change once they learn that a simple penny might hold the potential for an astonishing fortune. And that idea has inspired countless individuals to begin paying closer attention to the coins they encounter every day, studying the dates and mint marks, learning about the differences between common and rare varieties, and slowly discovering the fascinating history behind the coins that once circulated through the hands of millions of people during earlier decades. And through this process, many newcomers to the hobby develop a deeper appreciation for the artistry and craftsmanship involved in coin production, realizing that each coin is more than just a piece of currency, but also a small work of design created with precision and care at the United States Mint. And the Lincoln Wheat Penny in particular represents one of the most iconic designs ever produced in American coinage, a design that carried the image of Abraham Lincoln across generations and remained in circulation for nearly half a century before finally being replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse. And because 1957 was one of the final years of the Wheat Penny, design coins from this period hold a special place in the hearts of collectors who appreciate the historical significance of the series. And among those coins, the 1957 Wheat Penny has become especially intriguing because certain rare examples appear to possess characteristics that set them apart dramatically from ordinary pennies, characteristics that collectors believe could make them among the most valuable coins in the entire Wheat Penny series, potentially reaching astonishing values such as $33 million when the right combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand comes together. And the possibility of such value hidden within a coin that originally carried a face value of just 1 cent is what makes the story so captivating, because it reminds everyone that extraordinary discoveries can sometimes come from the most ordinary objects that people encounter every day without realizing the secrets they might hold. And this sense of mystery keeps collectors searching tirelessly, examining coins from old collections, visiting flea markets and estate sales, and even searching through bank rolls in the hope that they might one day uncover another rare example of the legendary 1957 Wheat Penny. And somewhere out there, another coin may still be waiting quietly among ordinary pennies, resting unnoticed until the moment when someone finally takes a closer look and realizes they are holding a tiny piece of history capable of changing everything. And that is why experienced collectors always encourage people to check their pennies carefully, because the next great discovery could be sitting right in front of them without anyone realizing it. And the thrill of that possibility continues to inspire new generations of collectors who understand that sometimes the smallest coins carry the greatest stories of history, mystery, and incredible hidden value waiting to be revealed. So the next time you come across a wheat penny, take a moment to examine it closely, because even the tiniest coin can hold an unbelievable surprise. And if you enjoy hearing about amazing rare coin discoveries and hidden fortunes like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned, because the next story might reveal an even more astonishing coin treasure waiting to be discovered.